It's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to another production here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. It is our mission to try to bring you some news you can use. Today is no exception to that rule. Follow me on Twitter X at the Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And do take the time to visit the website at obnradio.com for our 24-hour streaming content. And with all that being established, let us jump right into today's episode. We do want to acknowledge the passing of a Southwestern Athletic Conference legend. That's none other than Archie Cooler. Passed away this week at the age of 84. Of course, he was the head football coach for the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils in 1984 when it had that prolific combination of Totten to Rice, and did some phenomenal things throughout his career. Of course, he coached at Mississippi Valley, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, also had some time at Paul Quinn. He was, believe it or not, chosen to be the head coach of the Southern Jags, but due to some hiccups that he had at University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, the board and the president decided to go in another direction. And of course, we know who that person was. And it was none other than legendary football coach Pete Richardson. Of course, Coach Cooley earned the nickname the Gunslinger for his wide open offensive attack, which is the, let's say, introduction to what we call the spread offense today. So we do want to take this time to acknowledge a great legendary coach who has earned his wings. And we say rest in peace, Brother Archie, and to the rest of the family, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And while we're on the topic of football, of course, we heard from Coach Heist Northern this week. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, you can always go to our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network and check out his commentary on spring football, predominantly from the west side. We'll get together on next week to try to rewind and review some things from the east side. There's a huge set of baseball games this weekend for conference play, but before we get into the conference play, we got to acknowledge another successful mid-conference week, or should we say midweek interconference game for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. They were able to beat Miami, yes, the U, by the score of 6-4. Now, Southern University took a sound pounding against University of Houston, but the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats kind of made up for that. So for the past 3 weeks, we've had Southern, we've had Alabama State, and now Bethune-Cookman stepping up large in the world of ACC and the SEC to pull off the midweek victories. Now, as we get ready for this weekend series competition, we did have an out-of-the-box Thursday competition between Jackson State and Alabama State. Jackson State was able to hold off Alabama State by the score of 8-3. They'll continue their series action on today. Meanwhile, we do have some matchups for Friday, the 18th of April, in the world of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. A huge competition will be the Southern Jags and the Texas Southern Tigers. They're actually scheduled to play 4 games starting today, scheduled for 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. And I'm emphasizing the word scheduled due to the fact of the forecast in the Prairie View, Houston area. We'll touch into that just a little while longer. Alabama A&M will be on the road to take on the FAMU Rattlers starting this Friday. Their first pitch is scheduled for 4 p.m. on the Eastern time schedule, which will be 3 o'clock Central time schedule. Alcorn scheduled to be at Grambling starting today at 5 p.m. Mississippi Valley scheduled to open up against Bethune-Cookman at Bethune-Cookman. And you have the Prairie View A&M University Panthers scheduled to host the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. That game is scheduled to start at 3 p.m. Central Time on today, Friday, April the 19th. Now, as I mentioned, as the weather forecaster, and that's part of the baseball tracking, you have some pretty helter-skelter weather scheduled in the Prairie View, Houston area. It should be okay on today, but on Saturday and Sunday, scattered thunderstorms and showers throughout the weekend. So hopefully the games can be manipulated and moved around. Of course, Prairie View having the infield AstroTurf just laid this season, maybe they'll be able to weather the storm, literally, and get those games in for the series. As far as McGregor Park goes, it's got good drainage, but not really sure on if those rains do come, if they'd be able to get them in. Now, it is a very critical matchup between Texas Southern and Southern, and depend on who you ask, they are tied for first place. But if you want to get technical, if you ask Texas Southern, they'll say they're in the number one spot. If you ask Southern, they'll say they're in the number one spot. According to the Southwestern Athletic Conference, they have Southern listed at number one, along with Texas Southern at number two. Now, of course, Texas Southern does have the head-to-head thus far, but in this case, they go in alphabetical order. But either way it goes, if the rain holds back, you will have an undisputed number one seed between the two as they get ready to do the battle on the course of this weekend. And, of course, the weekend standings before the start of these series from the East, you have FAMU at number one, Bethune-Cookman number two, Jackson State number three, Alabama State number four, Alabama A&M number five, and you'll have Mississippi Valley coming in at number six. On the west side, we've already established the status of Southern and Texas Southern. Grambling coming in at that number three seed. They will take on the Alcorn State Braves, and it's just a really slippery slope for the Alcorn State Braves this season. They are really struggling, trying to produce runs and just play a little bit solid baseball. It's been a real struggle for that program this entire season. But as we look at this Pine Bluff and Prairie View matchup, it's going to be critical. Of course, Prairie View holding down that number four spot, but they got to make ground on the other three divisional leaders. Of course, Texas Southern, Southern, and Grambling. And meanwhile, you have the Golden Lions trying to even up their strike against Prairie View in that number four spot. Now, when you look at this season or this team's overall record, Prairie View has a slight advantage. Overall, they're 43-31 against Pine Bluff when they are in that head-to-head competition. Prairie View has a slight advantage, believe it or not, at home and even on the road against Pine Bluff, and they're going to need all of the mojo working this weekend to secure the sweep. And yes, I'm saying the sweep. This being the start of the second half of the season, Prairie View got to start hitting that high throttle mode in order to try and gain some ground for the rest of the Western Division leaders. As I mentioned, Prairie View having pretty successful run against the Golden Lions at home. Since their competition, Panthers are 20-12 at home against Arkansas Pine Bluff. On the road, the Panthers are 21-18 against the Golden Lions. So let's take advantage of that home field opportunity advantage and try to, as we mentioned, go for the sweep. So as we mentioned, we got a lot of baseball to be played over the course of the weekend. Now it's time for us to jump into our power rankings for the Southwestern Athletic Conference baseball programs through the week of April 17th. At number one, we have FAMU. Number two, the Southern Jags. Number three, will be the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Number 4, Texas Southern Tigers. Number 5, the Grambling State Tigers. Number 6, we have the Jackson State Tigers. Number 7, the Alabama State Hornets. Number 8, the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Number 9, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Number 10, Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Number 11, the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. And number 12, the Alcorn State Braves. Don't forget, you can join us on Twitter X at The Mike Prince Show for all the latest updates and information that we can dig up on the Southwestern Athletic Conference baseball programs. My time has come where I must exit stage left. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Thank you guys so much for joining in with us. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.